I think you're sleeping. Come back in an hour.
Need sleepy.
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!
It's now time for the Billy C. Morning Show, part of the Billy C. Boxing Network. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligione, and it's time for the Billy C. Morning Show. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Today's show, she's being brought to you by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant, located in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. And don't forget, if you're heading south, sort of like the Boyds are heading south now. It's getting cold up here in the Northeast. Then you got to swing by south, especially if you take I-95. It's literally 15 minutes off of I-95. That includes stopping for a couple of lights. Trust me, it'll be a well worthwhile stop, and it'll become a regular stop for you. I guarantee it. And hey, if you're a nutcase and you're going north for the winter, then stop by too. It's the same distance off of I-95. So if you need to get directions, I'll be glad to give them to you. But you can also get all the information about address, etc., by visiting the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by, you guessed it, my book. Come on now. You got to have at least a dozen copies laying around your house for me to shut up about it. Come on, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now. Right now. You can drop everything and get it right now, where all good books are sold. But literally right now, from BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. Hey, listen, you like the electronic versions? No problem. It's on Kindle and Nook as well. So check it out. Trust me, it's a quick read, and it's a piece of boxing history. It's a piece of American history. It's a piece of Black American history that you must read. Help me right the ship, man, because the bottom line is this guy was screwed during his lifetime, and he's still being screwed today, all because of the color of his skin. Read the book. I'm sure you'll agree. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. We're not doing a live show tomorrow, which is Fan Driven Friday. So today we're going to do Fan Driven Thursday. Yeah, it's Fan Driven Thursday today. We'll open up the phone lines in a little bit. I got another slew of emails to read, and I really just want to stop and thank everybody for interacting with us the way you have been, because it means a lot to us in this show, especially if you're watching live and you come on into our chat room, which has been getting pretty busy lately. It has its up days and down, but if you're watching on a stream or on Fight TV, check it out, man. It's BillyCBoxing.com. Just go into the chat room. It's real easy to get in there and join in with the reindeer games. And speaking of joining in with the reindeer games, is not Rudolph. It's Sal Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Rudolph Valentino. Here
I was thinking of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but
I sang that song in front of my third grade class. The teacher caught me talking, and she said, "Get up and sing the song." I did. Unbelievable. I'm still traumatized by that song. Not really. It was one of my favorites.
I'm still traumatized by the Bumbles monster.
You had a traumatic experience.
I did when I was a kid, man. I'll never forget watching that show for the Rudolph the first time when I was a kid. I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, and seeing that thing was. See, the kids today don't understand, because everything is so. Forget about animation. They got the claymation now and the violence on TV. The games that the kids play. It's so realistic, But back then, when you watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and you saw that big monster coming out, it was kind of scary.
It was. The bottom snowman. I remember it. It was tough.
I know. Well, it was a Bumble. Bumble's the snowman, right?
I don't know what they call it.
Remember?
He was hairy and he was big.
Well, remember Yukon Cornelius? Bumble's Bounce.
Man, he was cool. I think Yukon.
Oh,
yes,
God.
yes.
Yukon Cornelius. Nothing. Right? He'd go, Bumble's Bounce. Didn't I tell you? Bumble's Bounce.
That's right, man. Great memory, Bill.
Anyway, despite the 80s, I do have a decent memory. But today's topic of the day, or one of the topics, Canelo Alvarez is fighting this week. I know most of this.
I forgot about that.
I know. That's the point. That's great, because that's the point. The bottom line is most of the discussion so far. I mean, here we are Thursday already, and has been about Triple G and Roman Gonzalez and Kell Brook, etc., Carlos Cujas, and very little about Saul Canelo Alvarez, and rightfully so. I mean, he's fighting Dick Van Dyke. I'm sorry, he's fighting Liam Smith, who looks a lot like Dick Van Dyke. But and my question today, we did have a topic where, are you going to watch it or whatever? But today's topic is, all kidding aside, Canelo Alvarez against Liam Smith. Forget about the fight. Forget if you're going to watch it and everything else. Is it a pay-per-view worthy fight? I mean, forget today and what we've been subjected to with pay-per-views and all that stuff. I mean, is that fight pay-per-view worthy? That's what we're hoping you call in with when we open up the phone lines. But I ask you, Sal Rocky Sinicola, is that fight pay-per-view worthy in your opinion?
In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think Canelo Alvarez is enough to draw a pay-per-view. However, his opponent and the way he's been acting, I mean, it's blatant that he's lost some credibility, and that he's lost some of his shine or luster. And he's a great fighter, but I think his bowing aside from fighting Triple G was a big mistake. And I think that he's going to have to make up for that along the way. But no, I really don't want to pay for this. I'm going to do so because we have to. But it's something I'm not really looking forward to do. And you know what? Even if Liam Smith makes a good account for himself, it's just the fact that he just took the low road to try and pick up a win and get some action and do this and do that. But he missed that boat big time by touting his chest. If he just went down and avoided it for whatever reason, that's one thing. But when you pound your chest, say you're the baddest ass on the planet, and you could do this, you could do that, and then you don't have the actions to back it up, then you lose credibility fast. And the boxing fans out there are smart enough to know that.
But the bottom line, and I've always thought that Sal Rocky Sanicola could make a great politician. Is it the question that you still really didn't answer?
No,
in your opinion, is it a pay-per-view worthy fight, Sal? I mean, what do you think? Yes or no?
No, you know what? I don't think so. No, it's not. It's not a pay-per-view worthy fight, even though Canelo is a pay-per-view worthy fighter. How's that?
Good. It's still a political it's still a politician answer.
It's a pay-per-view worthy fighter, but this fight is not a pay-per-view worthy fight.
It's still a true statement from a politician who doesn't really want to say definitively yes or no. So I'm going to take it as no, that you don't think, and I agree with you.
It's not. You could take it as no, because it's not.
Because I agree.
Like I said, Canelo Alvarez is a pay-per-view worthy fighter, but this fight, I'm going to say, is not a pay-per-view worthy fight.
No, he punked out. Hey, listen, no disrespect to Liam Smith, because he does hold the belt,
yes.
but this is clearly the easiest fight that Canelo could muster up, and I will tell you this. I like Canelo Alvarez, but I'm going to be rooting for Liam Smith this week. Only because it would serve Canelo right for choosing this path. And nothing for nothing, but he did get mobbed when he came on scene yesterday in Texas for a press conference. There were a lot of people there, so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more people that are interested in this fight than I or you think, Sal.
Well, there's a good possibility of that, Bill. But I just haven't heard much about it. I mean, it doesn't have the real full interest, and there's been a great year of the British invasion this year. We've had some great stars coming out of the Brits, but this being one of them, I don't really see it. And if he pulls an upset, then slap you and I in the face. But I think that I just am a little disappointed with Canelo Alvarez. Great fighter, but I just wish he would either keep his mouth shut and let his fist do his talking, and just get the job done.
See, I don't have a problem with him fighting Liam Smith.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with him choosing, less than stellar opponent or whatever, and it is for a belt. But I just don't think that this fight should have been pay-per-view. I just don't think it should have been a pay-per-view.
No,
this is a guy that's claiming he's the biggest draw in boxing right now, which I don't know if I really agree. But the truth of the matter is every so often you got to throw something back to the fans. How about a regular old network television fight or even a cable network television fight? I mean, he still could have negotiated and made ample money to do it, but instead, once again, the boxing fan gets fleeced. Not only do we got to pay extra for premium channels to watch boxing,
$60-something, yeah,
$64.95. And then they're gonna upsell you, to $74.95 for the high def one. So I mean, come on, and the rest of the card sucks too. There's a couple of fights that could be entertaining, but I'm telling you, people don't buy pay-per-views for the undercard. If you get a good undercard, you're getting a bonus deal, but they just don't. I'll be shocked if the numbers do well. And speaking of numbers, I have the numbers from the Triple G fights this weekend. Now, granted, it was on HBO, but the viewership numbers were fantastic. Triple G against Kell Brook. They did. What are you pounding on? Could you keep it down a little? You're ruining the show, Sal. Don't make me mute you. I got the power to mute you right now.
I'm hearing a little static.
Well, I don't hear it. I don't hear it. So,
okay. Right, I'm hands free. I'm sitting on my hands.
Yeah, man, you should. I know.
All right.
So anyway, the Triple G Kell Brook combined almost 1.5 million viewers on HBO, and it's was the highest rated international telecast with about 1 million internationally. Also, the Triple G Kell Brook fight was also broadcast on TV Azteca, which is in Mexico, and they had over 1.5 million viewers in Mexico, which the fight was aired in the afternoon as well. 100 countries saw this fight, which is pretty good. Now, when you look over at the Chocolito fight, and keep in mind that they had over almost 20,000 fans live in the O2 Arena. The Chocolito fight, which aired later on, was about 850,000 on the later broadcast on HBO, which is pretty good too.
Pretty good.
So the total broadcast of the Chocolito fight, which was also broadcast in Mexico Saturday night, 2.3 million viewers, Sal, watched the Chocolito fight in Mexico. So if people really don't think that the Mexican fans support their boxing, the numbers back it up. So congratulations to both Triple G and Kell Brook and Chocolito and Carlos Cujas for doing very well with the numbers from this past weekend.
Absolutely.
Speaking of numbers, before we get into some emails, because we've got to open up the phone lines today, Sal. Before we get into emails, I do want to give some my picks. We have a NFL game tonight and a college game tonight. I'm not picking the college game, and unfortunately, you guys won't get my diamond picks because we're not doing a show tomorrow, and I won't have my picks set until tomorrow because we go by what the line movements are by Friday morning. So, but I do have today's. I will say this. My New York Jets, who already the fans are saying just end the season, which Jets stands for, which lost a game in which I'm still throwing up over. Play the Buffalo Bills. Now, since Rex Ryan, former coach of the Jets, have played the Buffalo Bills, the Jets haven't beaten them. All right, Rex Ryan has pretty much had the Jets' number. The game started off with the Buffalo Bills as a 3-point favorite, and now has gone to a pick 'em, meaning that several people are leaning towards the Jets. The total on this game is 41. Now, to me, the total seems a little high. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Sammy Watkins is out for the Buffalo Bills, their high-powered receiver. And the quarterback gets the job done. They do have a strong running game. They do, like the Jets, have a strong defense. The Jets have a strong defense. I'm thinking that this game should be a defensive game. However, listen, it's the second game of the season. Second game. And the Jets, in my opinion, and the Buffalo Bills are in a must-win situation. I know that sounds ridiculous for the second game of the season. But it's true. They got to right the ship. They overpaid for the bum in Ryan Fitzpatrick, who I don't think is worth. I would trade Ryan Fitzpatrick for a dozen of Sal's pizzas. That's what he's worth. He's certainly not worth $12.5 million for 1 year. The guy sucks. He chokes, and he's not going to have a good game in Buffalo. Guaranteed he's not going to have a good game. I can only pray that at some point in time the Jets make a quarterback change. I root for Bryce Petty, but that's me. What's my pick? Everybody's saying right now I'm 3 out of 4. I do have a push for our plays that we've been doing. My pick is the Jets. I think the Jets will go to Buffalo. I think it's going to be a close game. I think they're going to squeak it out. It's not going to be a big win. It's not going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a defensive struggle. Play the Jets. Pick them. Or if you can get some points with the Jets, some lines I've seen the Jets even getting a couple of points. But listen, take the Jets. Don't lay any points. Take them at pick them or get some points. The Jets will win the game. I'm picking the Jets. One other thing, while we talk about some New York teams, specifically mine, the Mets lost yesterday in a really good game, tight game with the Nationals, 1-0. But so did the Cardinals. The Cardinals got shut out as well. So the Mets remain 1/2 game into the playoffs. The New York Yankees, Sal's team, starts a very important series in Boston. And keeping in mind that they're only a couple of games out of a wild card spot, too. So New York has got a lot of things going on this weekend. So play the Jets and keep your fingers crossed for the Mets. Why don't we read some emails? What do you think? We ready for an email or two or what?
I don't know. Let's start volleying them across the net. Hey, I like that. Yeah, let's do it. I love these emails, and you get some great feedback.
Speaking about stuff across the internet, did you catch the photo of some teacher, some grade school teacher that is getting a lot of flack for basically being a hot babe? I mean, she's wearing these clothes. Oh yeah, she's friggin' gorgeous, and she's got a body that you want. I'm not kidding you. A grade school teacher, right? Now she's wearing nothing revealing. I mean, it's not like her boobies are hanging out or anything like that. It's nothing like that. But she's wearing some tighter, clinging clothes, and she has a hot body. I mean, and they're all up in arms about it. All I can say is this, man. I wish that teachers looked like she does when I was going to school. That's all I'm saying.
You think you had a hard enough time paying attention and learning back then? Forget about it. You know what? I think that's what I had a hard time with. It was because we had some cute teachers when we were learning.
Oh yeah, so do we. But let me tell you,
Absolutely.
If I was in her class right now, I'd be having a hard time too. Trust me. But anyway. Jesse says, "Hey, Billy C, good win for Eddie Ramirez against Watts. Is he ready for big names such as Maurice Hooker, Darwin Price, Anthony Peterson, Curtis Seldon, or Mike Reed? I would love to see Eddie Ramirez fight Seldon or even Darwin Price, who himself came off a decent fight. Maurice Hooker and Anthony Peterson might be that next level up for him. So should he do well, against a guy like Selden, who I think is a bit overrated, and Doran Price, then yeah, And then again, he also mentions Mike Yes Indeed Reed, who I also think would be a good matchup with Eddie Ramirez. Good question. He says, how do you see the Estrada versus Ioka fight, or is this fight off? If Estrada wins, should he move up in weight? He pretty much has solidified himself in the division. This movement about everybody moving up in weight all the time. If your body can handle it, if you're a young fighter and you physically can't make the weight, then you move up. Other than that, you stay in your weight class, man. There's no reason to constantly move up. I know a lot of the lower weight division guys move up because there's more money involved. But at the end of the day, the only way we can judge fighters, Sal, is if they fight everybody available to them in their current division. That you can't blame a guy for not having a stacked division when he's fighting during his era. You can only blame the guy if he picks and chooses and doesn't fight everyone, right?
Absolutely, and that's what we're looking at right now. But no, you can't blame a guy for fighting anybody and everybody. That's or who's available in his division.
Right. He says, Billy, I don't see that. I don't like that Canelo is saying that he didn't see anything special of Triple G's win over Brook. He said a win is a win. Billy, is Canelo too muscular to even move down to 147? I think he's too big for those welters, the welterweight division. I think Canelo is a legitimate middleweight. I don't care what Oscar De La Hoya says. And Triple G, listen, Triple G, if anybody is copying Floyd Mayweather to the T, it's Canelo Alvarez, 100%. I mean, to discredit Triple G's win over Kell Brook it's ludicrous, as Mike.
It's ludicrous.
He says, how do you take to Fernando Vargas saying that him calling out Trinidad and then saying, here's my belt, take it, Fernando Vargas criticizing Canelo not taking the Triple G fight? Do you remember the Vargas Trinidad and how it played out on who called who or how it was made? Was it the same situation like Canelo versus Triple G? Was Vargas in Triple G's shoes? Was Vargas looking for big names? Triple G is looking for big names, but they're not coming through. Fernando Vargas Trinidad was a guy that had a more calculated career. I'm not taking anything away from him at all. But Fernando Vargas, I think, was a fighter that was pushed a little too quickly. Ferocious Fernando Vargas. I mean, I love watching this guy. He's still a fan favorite, even though he's heavier than me right now. But the truth of the matter is I think that they pushed him a little too much. Lou Duva and his team rushed him into the big fights, and I think it shortened his career. So, what do you think? You think they pushed Fernando a little too much?
I think maybe a little bit too much, but hey, that's how you read the tea leaves, and it's all management and doing it. And I think they pushed him a little fast.
Next emails from Joel. He says, "Hey Billy C, with guys like Eubank Jr., Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo constantly saying they're ready and willing to fight Triple G, do you honestly think these three names will ever fight Triple G? As I said on the phone last week, I don't feel even if Triple G goes to England or Mexico, they will take the fight, even with three hometown judges. Do you see Triple G fighting Jacobs next, or will another smaller guy have to come up in weight and take the risk, but at least be called brave to fight Triple G?" He also wants to know my official prediction for Glowacki and Usyk on Saturday. My official prediction on that is Glowacki. I think he's going to win the fight, although Usyk is a really live dog. It's pretty close odds anyway. But as far as the original question, listen, Chris Eubank Jr. had a chance to fight him. He overpriced himself. These guys say, "Oh, we'll fight him." They leave out the point where they say, "Yeah, we'll fight him for $1.5 billion. Unless we get that, we ain't fighting this guy." Triple G doesn't need Chris Eubank Jr. at all. Eubank Jr. needed him. As far as Billy Joe Saunders, we all heard Billy Joe Saunders cockamamie bull story, and read some quotes from him yesterday. I think he's extremely Billy Joe Saunders wants no piece of Triple G. He's saying that in public so that he can try to develop some interest, to give him some leverage and bargaining power to get more money out of the deal. I thought $3 million was fair, maybe at this point, because Triple G wants that last belt, that they throw him another $1 million. I don't know. But I think that fight happens before Canelo. If I'm Triple G, Canelo, and what do you think about this, Sal? If I'm Triple G, I say screw you to Canelo. What does Canelo bring at this point? If Triple G can fight Daniel Jacobs, and yes, Joel, I do think Daniel Jacobs and Triple G fight will happen. If Triple G fights Daniel Jacobs and then goes on and fights Billy Joe Saunders, let's just say, what does he need? I mean, that if I'm Triple G, that's the route I take. I go for Jacobs, then I go for Saunders, and then I'm in the driver's seat for Canelo. Because if Canelo tries to say, oh, we want this, we say, forget about you, Canelo. We'll go fight somebody else. Somebody else. You know, the only way Canelo can position himself is if he gets Billy Joe Saunders first and beats him. Then he ends up with a belt that Triple G wants. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's right on. Exactly. Because you know what? It's a natural course for Triple G to take to get those two guys before Alvarez. I mean, Alvarez had his chance and he pondered it, and it went the wayside. And now he's yelling and crying that he is the baddest man on the planet, and that he also wants to fight Triple G. Forget about it. He had his chance. Let him do that, but let him stand in line. He needs Triple G now more than Triple G needs him.
That's what I think, especially after. I think the race for Triple G would be to get the other belt. If Canelo can get that, if Canelo gets that belt. But here's the thing, I think the demand and the interest level for Triple G against Daniel Jacobs, at least in my opinion, would be higher than Triple G against Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah, I see that, and I hate to admit it, but I know the big one is going to be the draw between Triple G and Canelo.
Of course.
But yeah, I think you had to hit it right on the head. It's a natural progression.
Well, the thing is Triple G has openly stated that he wants to collect all the belts in the division. He wants to be the guy to unify the belts. So that last belt right now is in Billy Joe Saunders' hand. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is scheduled to fight October 29th on the undercard of Vladimir Klitschko against Tyson Fury, the rematch. So, I mean, technically, Daniel Jacobs is talking about he would love to fight in December. And theoretically, Jacobs and Triple G both fought around the same time. They could be ready to fight each other in December. Billy Joe Saunders wouldn't be ready to fight in December. I mean, geez, he needs 18 months to prepare for Triple G. I mean, October 29th through December. I just don't think he's got enough time, Sal.
That's the game plan, man. That's the game book. Yeah. Start running.
Yeah, he just simply doesn't have the time, Captain. But anyway, Brett from Canada says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. First off, I know that I'm a day late, but I will not buy the Canelo pay-per-view with Liam Smith. Everyone knows he's chumped out of the fight with Triple. I love the choice of wording from my man Brett. He says he chumped out of, and he never curses. This guy, I don't think he's ever said a bad word in his life. I mean, I know they all cringe. The Macaulay family cringes when I go off and say those negative words. But Brett, more power to him for keeping it real. But anyway, he says. Everyone knows he chumped out of the Triple G fight, and I don't have much respect for him at this point. Besides the Rosado-Monroe fight, I'm looking forward to seeing Diego de la Hoya fight. He has good skill and seems to improve each time I see him. And he's fighting the right opponent. Orlando Duval is not a bad fighter, so we'll see. I think it's a good test. But again, I don't think... That card, I just don't think it's pay-per-view worthy. But anyway, he says, I must admit I was laughing when you read the quotes from Saunders, especially when he said he wanted 18 months to get ready for Triple G. What a joke he is, and Triple G will slay him inside of 5 rounds, just like he'll do against Jacobs, while has to fight, who he's got to fight next, I think he says. I agreed when you said that Jacobs is going to get a beating. Yeah. Daniel Jacobs, unfortunately, will get a beating. I know he's a great guy out of the ring. He does a lot of good things for people, young people especially, and he's a feel-good story about him beating cancer and stuff. From a human point, I love the kid, and he does possess skill, but he has one severe flaw / weakness in his boxing game, and that happens to be his chinny chin chin. And when he steps in with Triple G, who's a ring general, it's not going to last long. He says, I was real happy.
He's a chin surgeon, Triple G.
Pretty much. But speaking of chins, he also, I think Daniel Jacobs, their game plan will try to attack him with the uppercut. I mean, that seems to be something he wasn't able to stop from Kell Brook.
No.
But anyway, he says, I was really happy to hear that Jesse did go and see the Andy Ruiz fight live. It made me think. And here's Brett giving kudos to another emailer. I mean, what are these guys communicating through us, Sal? What is going on here? This free advertising. You started it all by giving everybody and them brother a free mention on the show. But anyway,
that reminds me of something.
Yeah, well, keep it to yourself. He says, I was really happy to hear that Jesse did go see the Andy Ruiz fight card live. It made me think of when I saw my first live event, how it made me a fan for life. It was back in October of 1987. In Sudbury, Ontario, a man who represented Canada in the '84 Olympics, Sean O'Sullivan, got a TKO win over Darrell Anthony from St. Louis. After that, I wanted to watch boxing all the time and was so happy that my dad took me there while my mom and sister went shopping. You guys are on spot when you say there's nothing like a live event. I agree, Brett, and thanks for sharing us with that. And that was my whole point with Jesse. Because, you got to go experience it live. And even if you're not ringside, it still makes a difference. Don't you think, Sal?
Absolutely. It does. And, you're just caught up in the emotion of the drama, of the noise. It's electrifying. It really is.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But and you feel the energy from the fans and everything else. Geez, we got a couple.
Feel the energy, the noise, and the anticipation, and you pick your fighter and let's go. And it's a good event. It's a good thing to do.
We got another one here, and this is from Aaron from Mississippi. He says, "Hey Billy C and Sal, I have an off the wall idea for Triple G that could serve him and K2 very well. This could potentially. You're gonna love this. I just as I'm glancing ahead." Because I think you might have said something about this yesterday. That's funny. He says, I got a great idea for Triple G that could serve him and K2 very well. This could potentially quiet some of his critics and make him the top pay-per-view draw among active fighters. My idea is, drum roll please. There you go. All right, Sal. Sal's my man. He's got the, you guys didn't realize that Sal is a sound effects guru, okay? You have to wait till the end of the show to hear him do the Batman theme. And now he gave us a great drum roll. Thank you, Sal. He says, my idea is have a pay-per-view event in London or Vegas where Triple G fights Eubank and Sanders or even Jacobs on the same night. He says, same card. He says, give Triple G about 30 minutes after the first fight and get him right back in the ring with the next guy.
I love it.
He says this will serve. Listen, he's serious.
Wildfire.
Yeah, my man Aaron is serious. He said this will serve many purposes. Silence the Triple G hate from people saying he doesn't challenge himself, which is bullshit. He says make it a must buy for even casual boxing fans with a guy fighting two opponents in the same night. Dethrone Clownello. Oh, I like that. Clownello is the top pay-per-view guy. Listen, let's make no mistake. We recognize guys being active until they're inactive for 1 year. Floyd Mayweather Jr., whether you like him or not, has not been inactive for 1 year. Therefore, he still is the pay-per-view top guy, not Clownello. But anyway, he says, and with the numbers done from this event, it will force Golden Girl to see Triple G as the new A-side. Not to mention, this hasn't been done in my lifetime in boxing by a major fighter. I defer you and Sal on that, but I don't recall it being done. It was done years and years ago, but he says
5 opponents one night, I think.
Well, Jack Johnson did.
Jack more contemporary. I want to find out about that because that's what gave me the idea. George Foreman fought 3 or 5 guys in one night.
Yeah,
where's Alex or where's Harold? Let's get him to
Henry.
Let's get Henry to find that out.
This fact alone may make it worth them thinking about it to create some buzz in boxing world after the Floyd-Pacquiao disaster. Also, wouldn't these guys be more willing to fight Triple G knowing he had to take on 2 fights in one night? That's a good point. He says, seems to me this would give him both extra courage to actually sign on a dotted line and not just talk about it. As far as who gets some first, let the 2 of them decide that, whether it's the first guy out gets the biggest purse or something like that. I know it sounds like a crazy idea, but why not? They do it in kickboxing tournaments, and Triple G is more than capable. Dispatch one guy and queue up the next. This would build the hell out of his reputation. I'll be waiting on my check from Triple G and K2. That's from Aaron. Great idea. There are some logistics that kind of make something like that impossible these days. One of the things would be the gloves. What do? Do you make them change the gloves after one fight? The gloves would be wet. The wraps would be wet, and then the cool down process. I mean, you physically, you get all jacked up, you get heated up, you go out there and fight, and then that 30 minutes where Aaron might be looking at it as a plus for Triple G, it could actually hurt him. He cools down, his body goes into cool down mode, and then all of a sudden he's got to get up again. I don't know, from a realistic point, Sal, if you're fighting 2 legitimate people, could you handle it in one night? I mean, if you're fighting 2 powder puffs, it's a different story. But if you're fighting 2 legitimate fighters in one night, could your body be ready to do that?
I think you can, depending on how the first fight goes and how you tax your body there. But and are we talking about 2 10-round fights, 2 12-round fights, 2 5-round fights? When does it become a fight into an exhibition? So you got to really have some real guidelines with this. And there are some fighters out there that are capable of it. But for the most part, like I said, I want to do some research. George Foreman tried to do something like that, and I don't think it really was received so well in the boxing community. And I'm not saying it turned into a circus, but I remember he fought maybe 3 or 5 guys in one night.
5. A coach just gave us the stat. 1975, he fought 5 guys in one night.
Did I say that, huh? Did I say that? I say that?
You were pretty vague. You said, I don't know. I think he fought 3, up to 5. I don't know. You're one of these guys. He was kind of a short, fat, tall, skinny guy, But anyway.
No, really. He had some hair, but he was kind of bald.
Describe him. He was kind of tall, thin, fat, skinny, short guy, Oh, okay.
Dark complexion, but he had some light color.
He had blondish, brownish, blackish hair,
Kind of salt and pepper.
Anyway, here's another one. This one's from my man James. He says, last weekend a boxer whose name I don't recall was charged with a knockdown, but looking back at the film, his gloves never touched the canvas. Without the knockdown, he would have won the round. So the knockdown actually resulted in a 3-point swing. Why couldn't it be a rule to allow judges to look at those close calls and adjust their scorecards? And he says, in other news, I agree with you, Billy C. Buffalo chicken does not belong on pizza. And I agree. And neither does ham and pineapple, but I mean, ham does.
Billy.
Ham does.
It's hard not to sell that down here. First time somebody came in and asked for buffalo chicken on pizza, I looked at Max and said, what? Oh, yeah, Sal, we do it here all the time. I said, what?
Yeah, I know. I know people buy it. I mean, listen, from your perspective, you got to give the people what they want. From my perspective.
Well, that's it. I do.
Yeah, from my perspective, I mean, it just doesn't go. And same thing with pineapple.
Pineapple. I can't eat pineapple on a pizza.
No.
The guy coming in wants pineapple and ham.
Well, I don't mind.
Pineapple's acidic. Cheese is alkaline. How does it mesh?
Yeah.
It looks like it would curdle in your stomach. I just don't get it.
I love pineapple, but
Me
not
too.
on pizza.
Not on pizza.
And I love ham, and I like ham on pizza, but not
a good combination. Why don't we try a pineapple ham pizza?
Because I don't even like pineapple and ham, to be honest with you. I like eating pineapple by itself, but anyway. The point here that James is making is a good one, because I think it's time that we do use instant replay in the sport of boxing. I mean, my man Larry Hazard in the state of New Jersey certainly does. We have the film crews right there. We have the technology to do it. It would only take a matter of 30 seconds, as long as they could cue it up and let the referee look at it in between the rounds without affecting that 1 minute break period. Why not? Why not get it right? And he's totally right in James's point that it becomes a 3-point swing in a fight, because a lot of judges, and this goes back to another thing that Larry Hazzard says all the time, if me and Sal are fighting and I'm knocking the snot out of Sal for 2 minutes and 50 seconds of the round, and then Sal lands a shot on me that drops me, a flash knockdown, all the judges are going to score that round 10-8 for Sal because he dropped me. And it's really not the right way. I mean, I don't know. I do think that we should incorporate instant replay 100%. One last email, and then, Sal, we'll try and open up the phone lines for a little bit. But one last email. This is from Cole. And he says, "Hey, Billy C., I hope you enjoyed the Triple G versus Brook fight. I watched the fight at a friend's, and they were not impressed with Triple G. Nevertheless, my younger brother stated that Mayweather could beat Triple G easily." He says, "I obviously disagreed with this, and you need to back me up on this one. Also, recently I've been watching the first fight between Ward and Gotti. Do you think there are any potential fights today that could ever live up to this trilogy?" First of all, to answer that question, Roman Gonzalez and Carlos Cudras certainly could if we get another fight like that. I think that Sean Porter and Keith Thurman would be another good one that could possibly live up to that. I mean, we had a really good fight the first time, and who knows, But those are two that come off the top of my head. Now, as far as Triple G and Floyd Mayweather, here's the deal, Cole. I think Triple G would knock Floyd into next week. I really do. And the reason why I say that is because I think that Triple G would definitely curb Floyd Mayweather's runnings and hiding and pick-pock shot style. However, and maybe it's time to turn the show off, Cole, but I think if there's anyone out there today that could frustrate Triple G and steal, now notice my choice of words here, steal a victory from Triple G, and it pains me to say, I think that could be Floyd Mayweather. And the reason is if Floyd Mayweather could definitely get away and prevent Triple G from cutting that ring off and bottling up Floyd and getting him where he wants him, against the ropes in the corner, Floyd could steal a fight from him. Would I love to see it? Yes, because I've said a million times, Sal, great fighters, and Floyd is not only a guy that thinks he's great, he's self-proclaimed the best ever. Guys like that need to prove it by doing things just like this. Fight a guy like Triple G that everyone else is scared of. Floyd comes out, fights him, beats him. The rest is solidified forever in the annals of boxing. What do you think about the email from my man Cole?
I think it's right on. I think it's true, and I think that that's what we're talking about. That's boxing. Get them in the ring.
That's what great fighters do. Hey, listen,
that's what great fighters do. We always talk about it, and that's great. Great email. I
know we're pressed for time, but the phone lines are open. If you have a short comment or question, please try to limit it. 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. We want to hear from you. Bottom line, Sal, with the issue today, Canelo Alvarez going up against Liam Smith, no way in hell do I think it's a worthy pay-per-view worthy fight. And joining us right now, I think, is Joel to give us his thoughts. What do you think? Is it worthy or what?
I had to mute the TV. You're a little ahead of me. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, no, we were just talking. I mean, one of the reasons I want people to call is, do you think that the Canelo Alvarez versus Liam Smith is a pay-per-view worthy fight?
Absolutely not. I think you said earlier in the show, I heard you mention it should not be on pay-per-view. I agree. And it's interesting because I know Golden Boy's tight with HBO, I think. But was this also a matter of not having a budget, or did De La Hoya and Golden Boy say, hey, whatever Canelo does is pay-per-view worthy? What was the case on that? Did we ever get a verdict?
Well, that's definitely the latter. They feel that he's the biggest draw in boxing right now, And if you want to see him, you either go see him live, buy a ticket, or you buy the fight and watch it at home. And you know, in all due respect, he very well could have been, if he continued his path of trying to choose, you know, the best available fighters out there. And by choosing Liam Smith, I understand that he's seeking a belt and the easiest way of getting a belt, but it's certainly not the toughest opponent. And I do not think they're going to do that well with pay-per-view. I really don't. And like Coach said in the chat room earlier, a lot of Mexican fans and the Brits will probably buy it, but I don't think it's going to overall do well.
Actually, my question for you today is off topic. It's about the NFL. I want to ask you in relation to tonight's game, and you knowing about you being a big Jets fan, knowing a little bit or a lot about Rex Ryan. I wanted to ask you if you think if the Buffalo Bills have a poor season, do the ownership at Buffalo get rid of Rex Ryan after 2 seasons? What do you think? I wanted to ask your opinion on that.
Wow, that's a tough question. You know, I happen to like Rex Ryan. I know he's a little over the top. Yeah, he's a little over the top. You know, the interesting thing about this season is that he brought his brother Rob in to be the defensive coordinator. And Rob, Rob has had a history of not doing too well in the last several years as a defensive coordinator. As a matter of fact, his defenses have been ranked last or next to last the last 3 seasons. So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, with that said, one of my points about Rex Ryan is that I think he happens to be a fantastic defensive-minded coach. The problem is when you're a head coach, you kind of got to have a handle on every aspect of the game, the special teams, the offense, and the defense, which I think Rex has had a hard time to deal with. But if you're giving him the right pieces of the puzzle, I think he's going to do well. I think 2 years... this is his third. I think that every coach should get at least 5 years to build a team. And Buffalo, you know, you'll listen to the fans and they're all saying, well, we had a top defense before Rex came in. Now he comes in and you know, they have a terrible one. I don't know. I think he needs a little time. The team has to become his. And I like Rex. I think people are hard on him because he's got a big mouth. He puts his neck on the chopping block. But it's going to be a tough game tonight. It's going to be a defensive struggle. And like you heard, or maybe you didn't, I'm picking the Jets in this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I hope they do win. I'm a Giants fan, but, you know, I like to root for New York. I don't have
Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. See you later. You know, Giants fan.
Oh, come on. No, but I just... I want to quickly also ask, there's a small boxing event tonight on CBS Sports Network. Dusty, Harrison Hernandez, and I think Tommy Cornflake Lamano. You're going to tune in? You're going to put that on DVR and watch the football game? What's your choice tonight?
Jets, Jets. You know, I listen, I've said this many times. You know, the Tuesday night fights that we watched the other night were good. I love seeing fights on other nights during the week. But no sport has a chance of competing with the NFL when the NFL plays. They just don't. You know, there's not a sport, you know, that's going to compete with the NFL. I don't think there's anything you can put on television that would compete with the NFL. So with that said,
this is my last question. I want to ask this. So at the end of the season, I think, isn't there still a Saturday? I'm not as knowledgeable of football as you are, but I think there's a Saturday night game. They have like 1 or 2 games towards the end of the season in December. So if you had like a semi-big Triple G, let's say a Canelo fight. Let's say Canelo's fight in December is on a Saturday night that they have NFL. And the Jets are playing for that information. The Jets are close to a playoff spot. Do you watch Canelo on HBO Live or do you watch the Jets?
That's when I kick in my DVR. You know, and I would watch the Jets. See, when I do a DVR, I don't know what the result is. I can't watch something that I know the result. So I would most likely watch the Jets live if the Jets were playing. If it wasn't the Jets, I would definitely go the other route. But if the Jets were playing, I would watch the Jets live. I would DVR the fight and watch that as soon as the Jet game was over.
I appreciate that. I'll let you go. I know you wanted to be quick, Sal. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to speak to you, but I do hope you have a great weekend. It's always great to hear you every day.
Did you ever get your shirt from Sal or what?
It's going out this weekend. I have it right here with his address. I got where is his address? Where is the address?
Oh, good. We had to put him on the spot, Joel. We had to put him on the spot.
Hold on. Yes, I have it right on the shirt. Hold on.
All right, good. Well, I got your back, Joel. I got your back. You win the prize.
All right, I appreciate it.
I have it though. I got a size large. It's a white shirt. It's a beautiful shirt. And if I could just find your address.
Well, we know you got it. Thanks, Joel.
Sal, I'll message you the address again. No worries. You guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you guys both next week. You're very kind. Take care. Thank you so much.
All right,
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.
That's
Take care. Bye.
my man Joel in the chat room, and it's about time you send his shirt out. The guy wins the thing. You brag how you're going to send it to him, then you don't send it to him. You're one of those kind of guys, aren't you?
Well, the truth of the matter is, I got to order these things in batches of 48. And when he requested his size, I didn't have that, so I had to order some new shirts.
Come on, who are you trying to kid? Last time I was there, you had 5,000 shirts. There were so many shirts, you couldn't even get in the building.
Oh, easy.
And speaking of that, you know what you should have done? You should have looked back in your office. You probably have some there they can't even see. They're probably, you know what I would do? I'd look at them. I'd look for them under those blue pails, or maybe the oil jugs. The oil jug. Hey, I know where they probably are. Under your desk, or should I say, under the pile of crap on your desk. I don't know. Do you still have the desk? Can you even see the desk?
That's
come on.
a great desk. That desk is, I find anything I want whenever I want it.
Yeah, I bet. And you lose things whenever you want.
No, I keep it like that so nobody knows what to look for when they want to look for it.
Yeah, that's like when the IRS or the tax guy comes in. We need to see all your records. Hey, no problem.
Hey,
there you go. Go help yourself. We got a caller on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, it's Coach.
Hey, Coach, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? Bail me out now, man.
Hey, you got to turn the radio or a computer down because we're getting an echo in the background. But what's on your mind, brother?
I got it all down. Actually, I used to coach high school and college ice hockey, so I was watching the World Hockey Championships last night, and I started to watch all the different NHL players from different teams. They're competing against each other on a different venue. Then I said, why couldn't the states get together and make a state team, top fighter from each state in each weight class, and have like a USA boxing championships, almost like you do in the amateurs, but you do it as, even if you wanted to do it outside the top 10, to make the fighters fight, give them an opportunity and a venue, a payday to get them to fight.
Hey, listen, I love that idea, but I think that the safety first and the cherry pick and the what makes most sense and the roads to the money and everything affect it. I couldn't help but see, occasionally I look and I never read all the social media comments back and forth and everything, but I happened to have caught one the other day. And it said that, guys like Sal and I, and you too, Coach, because you pretty much share our opinions on most of the stuff. They say you guys got to roll with the change. And the sport has changed, and you have to accept it, meaning the safety first and the cherry picking and all the things we complain about. The new generation of fans say that that's the way boxing has evolved. That's the sport now. If you don't like it, it's not brutal anymore. If you want brutality, go to MMA. I find that really disheartening because, and I'm not looking for brutality all the time. I'm just looking for competitiveness. And if boxing is going to become safety first, it's gonna go away. I don't think people really want to watch a Dancing with the Stars match inside the ring. I really don't.
No, I think the turn towards entertainment was a bad move. But even if they did it for the second tier fighters, so it would open the door for some of these guys. Some of the guys that there's talent out there that you never even get to find out about. All of a sudden, a particular fighter gets to 17, 18, and never gets a shot, and starts driving trucks.
Well, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago about the rivalries and stuff. Everybody's so afraid of not being political correct that the rivalries aren't even getting a chance. But I'll tell you what, as much as, I think the PBC, in a sense, from a business perspective and fighters' purses and things like that have kind of hurt the sport, it's also on the contrary has helped it, because the other night we got to see Robert Easter Jr. fighting Richard Kamei, and I thought that was a great fight, putting two young fighters against each other. Here's where the problem lies: the loser of that fight, in this case Richard Kamei, is he still going to get opportunities now because he's got that loss? That's where I think the problem lies. Once we get the network execs and the powers that be to accept a fighter as still being a quality fighter and a good fighter, even though he's got a blemish on his record, then maybe we can make that turn. What do you think, Coach?
No, absolutely. That's why when I looked at that tournament type style, I'm just going to pick New Jersey fights New York. And even though, say, the New York or New Jersey guy loses, his name still remains relevant to a point when New York goes on to fight Montana or whatever the case may be. And then maybe after, say, 3 consecutive losses, now the team replaces you or whatever the case may be. So you can use it as a launching pad. And I think fans might, even outside fans, they get, you know how fighters get drawn into the local fighter, and then I didn't know this was like this, and then they get drawn into the national scene, then they get drawn into maybe the local thing will help expand the sport again.
Guys, I just want to add this. I used to beat myself up trying to think, how could we reinvent some of this stuff? And I thought along the same lines as Coach is hinting. I said, with my experience and my background in high school wrestling or college wrestling, why don't each state produce the weight classes and have a state champ or state representative, and they face other states, and you have a tournament for the year. It could be a national championship team. In other words, the fighters, even though they're fighting individually, they are actually doing it as a team. It's like wrestling. You get 12 weight classes, or this weight class, or 8 weight classes, or whatever it is. And the majority of who has the points. You win by knockout, it's 6 points. You win by decision, it's 3 points. And at the end of the night, when there's 12 fights or 10 fights, however they want to do it, maybe they limit the weight classes. That state wins the majority of the fights, and they're the winner by the points. And then they have a national championship, maybe a world championship. But it's got to be league, it's got to be national, it's got to be this and that. But it just is not capable. This sport is not capable of evolving and going that route.
It's not. Well, and wait a minute, Coach. Listen. The reason why it's not is because we factor in. I agree, it would be great, but here's what would happen: you'd have either a new league that has to form to do it. You'd have a decision where the young fighters are going to be advised, hey, listen, you're moving up in the WBA rankings. If you do this, they're going to drop you. And then just the way the sanctioning bodies are, each sanctioning body doesn't recognize fighters that happen to be ranked in another sanctioning body. You know what I mean? So, there's so many cooks in the kitchen that even an opportunity like this, which, Coach, I know you're looking at with the glass half full, all the positives, there's so many negatives, and that's where it falls back to what I say all the time. Boxing needs unity, not, division. And every step of the way, there's more division here. And a question I wanted to ask you, Coach, was, the young fighters today, like you said, and just, commenting on your comment about, you see the local fighter and you expand to the national level, et cetera, which is the way it used to be and the way it should be. All of a sudden, that puts the burden of promotion on the young fighter. The young fighter is self-promoting himself to sell the tickets. And it goes back to what I've been saying for years. Promoters don't promote anymore. Years ago, the promoter would go out there and make it seem like, Joe Kidd, the new fighter, is a must-see commodity and sell tickets. Now the kid's got to train, go sell tickets to mom and dad and their friends and all of this, and the promoter sits back and collects his or her share. And that's another negative about the sport.
Well, I think another thing, plus, that could work for this is, now with the pros being able to fight in the Olympics, some of the second-tier fighters could say, you know what, make it an Olympic qualifying tournament. So now if you fight in this state tournament, that gets you to so you don't have to be that last guy trying to get in a thing. You make it an Olympic qualifying type tournament. So you're not, fighters coming out of the gloves or winning national tournaments don't have to make that major decision do I turn pro? Don't I? To hear how there's another avenue, another road, and I think you hit it on the head. Boxing really just doesn't want to fix itself, and they're using the ploy to just line their own pockets. But anyway, watching a hockey game, I'm just saying that would be perfect to turn on a finals of the United States Boxing Championship and see New Jersey in the heavyweight division. New Jersey's fighting New York, and then a light heavy, Illinois is fighting Wisconsin, or whatever the case may be. I think if somebody tried to put it together, they might be able to pull it off.
Well, I think that the state level titles is a great start. But a lot
they don't even do that.
I know. I was just going to say.
They go to a state championship, and it's not even two New York guys fighting. The guy's from Texas.
I know, and not all states offer a state title anymore. And it's even worse when you go to Asian Pacific title, and you got a guy from Germany fighting in that fight. It doesn't. It's not even. It's all about paying a sanctioning fee. You pay the sanctioning fee, and anybody can fight, and that's the problem. And if you pay one sanctioning fee to one group, you're not, unless you join the other one, you're not going to even be on their radar. So there's too much division, Coach, and we're seeing it more and more. And unfortunately, we're critical of fighters padding their records and cherry picking, but in a way, it's not really the fighter's fault. I'm convinced that most fighters have the mentality of they're invincible and they'll fight anybody. It's their advisors and managers and promoters and the TV execs that drive the main bus that say, listen, you can't, we're not going to put your kid on unless he's undefeated. So with that fear of challenging your fighter, you're putting him in soft so he doesn't lose. So you're killing the advancement and the progression of a fighter because he's not getting challenged as he's getting better. And the question remains, is he getting better fighting the same level guys? And the end result is what we have right now.
No, I agree 100%. And what it also made me start to think about is boxing has, which other, like in Britain and some states actually have most of the military, but boxing as a sport in college, it's gone. You don't really see it except in the military school.
Well, no, it's coming back. It's coming back.
Well, I know it's a push, but if it was if the local community college had a small time, you get the credit for your gym class if you took boxing, or that you started there. It's like anything else. The lower you build and the stronger you build the foundation, the better the whole thing is going to be in the end.
Well, the gyms really are part of the problem. We don't have those what I call boxing gyms anymore. The low budget, stinky gyms that used to produce all the great fighters. Now people want to join a gym. They want a treadmill. They want this. They want all the They want TVs. They want different workout opportunities, and they've emerged into these workout centers, which attract multiple people, not just boxing people. And I'm not saying boxing people don't go to these gyms, but now you have trainers and you have nutritionists, and it's just become a big business. And the old stinky gyms that produce fighters and boxers, there's far and few in between, and there's not.
We're lucky. We have a couple good stinky gyms.
Okay, but listen, that's because you're down in a metro area. You come up here. There's no gyms here. There's a couple, right? And then you go to other states. There's no gyms. I'll tell you right now, and you're gonna be shocked. The state and city that has more gyms that I've seen, boxing gyms, regular boxing gyms, than I've seen anywhere else I've traveled in the last 20 years. And I'm telling you, Coach and Sal, there's a boxing gym on every block, all right? Albuquerque, New Mexico has more boxing gyms than you would. I mean, people say New York City or Las Vegas is the mecca of boxing. I say if you go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, even though we don't see that many live events from there are more kids training and there's more training, trainers available than I've ever seen in the last 20 years.
Well, boxing's making a big comeback in Detroit. A lot of gyms boxing gyms opening up in Detroit.
Well, that's sort of like that bird you were telling us holding the sign in the chat room.
Yeah.
But anyway.
When I saw it, I just said to myself, why doesn't anybody just take a shot at this? It's almost an expansion on the Super 6 middleweight type thing, but divide them by state.
How do you get
like
them?
I said,
how do you get the pool of fighters? It's almost like you would have to form another league and basically divide another group.
It could start out almost like in the amateurs when New York used to fight Chicago in the gloves. If it started out that every year, say New York, we'll just say, just for conversation's sake, New York State has a New York champion in every weight division, and say New Jersey happen to have the same. It just starts out that New York fights New Jersey, and you might get a good card out of that. Might get some names if the people step up. Now the next Philly decides, we want to throw some guys in there. So now it's a three-way tournament the next year. You're not going to start out with all 50 states. I don't think Hawaii is going to be flying, even though Hawaii is a big boxing state. I don't know how many fighters they'd be flying over here right away. But the draw, once people start to see the benefit of it,
well,
it
definitely creates rivalry, and I think rivalry really is the backbone of boxing. I mean, at the end of the day, all these guys calling each other out and trying to use social media to help catapult a fight or create a fight or the interest in a fight really is based on the rivalry mentality. And what you're saying is another vehicle to do that. And
for sure. And to tie this into the Canelo thing, that's exactly why I said the Brits and the Mexicans will definitely be, because their loyalty to their fighters, that rivalry is there, even though they didn't fight before, even though whatever, I'm going to follow my guy. And now if we could have got that maybe at a state level, that's what kind of made me think about it. That's why I believe those fans are going to, it's a self-built-in rivalry just because it's my guy fighting the other guy. And that could work on a state level. The New York, just for the same reason, people follow the Jets and whatever.
Let me ask you one thing before we let you go, Coach. What do you think the Canelo-Liam-Smith fight will do pay-per-view numbers?
I'm not really. You know what it is? What time are they broadcasting? If it'll be really low if they do it like they did the Triple G, and they don't even attempt to make a time change to make it conducive for the.
Well, no, it's in Dallas. It's in Dallas, so it's probably going to be their normal.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
It's probably going to be 11 o'clock.
I got the Brook fight on my mind. I don't know. I think it's actually going to do all right, especially being in Dallas.
I mean, you think they're going to do 1 million? You think they're going to do 500,000? What?
I think they break 1 million.
See, I don't think they hit 1 million.
Well, if we're going to count the Brits, that I don't know. I guess Sky. I don't know how they're doing it over there. Sky's putting it on or whatever. But I think I think they break it. The Brits, I think they have one of the best boxing programs going, and their fans are really loyal. Put them together with the same Mexican fans.
No, you make a great point. And let me tell you something. The Brits, there's no group of fans that are more diversified than the Brits, and but they love the live events. They love going to the live events. So it's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, that's why they put it in Dallas Stadium, because they wanted the biggest venue they could get to bodies and seats is the name of the game. But
it's going to be interesting to see how many fans show up. I haven't heard anything about ticket sales.
No, I haven't heard anything myself.
Yeah,
I think they get I don't think it'll be like the PBC started where they're giving away tickets outside.
I think they will. I think they'll be giving tickets away. Remember, Jerry Jones said, "Hey, I'll make my money selling popcorn." And he's got a point. That if he can fill that stadium, he'll make money on the concessions, the park, and all the other BS that the other guys won't get a piece of.
And that place is set up. That place is set up so that even if you're in the nosebleed seats, there's a big screen TV hanging. Forget the one hanging from the middle of the field. There's big screens everywhere.
Oh, I know. People go. That kills me. You go to a live event, you end up. I do the same thing. You end up going. You're watching it on a big screen. But hey, Coach, man. great call, and you should call us more often.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys.
Coach,
brother.
take care, man.
Take care.
Enjoy.
Coach, great call from Coach and Joel. So listen, Sal, as we wrap it up here, I posed the same question that I just asked Coach. I mean, how do you think the pay-per-view buys are going to be for the Canelo Liam Smith fight this weekend? I mean, do you think they're going to hit 1 million?
I want to say, yeah. I think with the Latin community, it should help push it over.
See,
Coach, like I said earlier on, Bill, Canelo is a pay-per-view worthy fighter. I just don't think this fight is worthy of pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree with that, and but Coach makes a great point about the loyalty of the Mexican fans.
That's what I'm saying,
and they certainly are. They go to the events and they follow their boxing. They take it very seriously, and they love Canelo. Liam Smith, he's not a big name here. He's not posing any kind of a threat, in my opinion, to Alvarez, even though he's the guy with the title. And it's going to be interesting to see how they walk him out if Canelo comes out second. Because if you recall, they did have a champion in Gonzalez, who really people were coming to see go out first. The way you're supposed to. It's going to be interesting to see if Canelo conforms to that, because if he doesn't, that's going to piss me off a little bit. But in any event, I do not think they're going to do 1 million. I think that they're going to come somewhere above 500,000, but they're not going to hit 1 million. I don't think so. I don't think so. In that on that card, I think that. More people are going to stay away from that fight than not. I know they're going to get one because I got to get it, but it pains me to have to shell out that money for that fight. But I don't think it's going to do 1 million. So I'm not with you on that one. Your official prediction of the fight, Sal? Will it go to distance or will it end before the 12?
It'll end before the 12th. Canelo will probably do away with him. I'm going to say probably within the 6th round.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the fight's going to go 6. And if it does, the longer it goes, the more chance Smith has.
That's what I'm saying.
Honestly.
And I don't think Canelo wants it to get too much out of the second half of the fight. So I think he'll bring it home probably between the 4th and 6th round.
Well, the way I see this fight going is Canelo Alvarez trying to knock him out. And I think that if Liam Smith can incorporate some movement and make it difficult, because let's see, the one big weakness that Canelo does possess, and he still does, he hasn't improved, is that he kind of got to stand in front and lock his knees almost in place before he delivers a punch. I mean, it's really weird if you watch film of him. He can't let his hands move on the move. Like he can't let his hands go when he's on the move. A lot of great fighters and good fighters or above, I should say, are able to land punches while they're moving. And Canelo does not seem to be able to do that. And
no, he's always had that problem. It looks like he has to get set. His feet have to be firmly planted and reshuffled from his prior position.
Right. And if his opponent obliges, then he can do damage. But if Smith can move around, then maybe he's got a chance in this fight.
And to Smith's credit, I mean, the guy is a champ. I mean, the guy's been in the ring. The guy knows what he's doing. Hypothetically, I mean, I'm sure he's going to want to make a good showing. He's getting the exposure he is, and maybe he's going to do a little boxing and everything else. And I ultimately do think he will come up short and lose. But even if he makes a fair competitive showing, I think he'll gain some respect on a world stage.
Yeah, he has never fought anybody of the caliber of Canelo. He's got a paper title that you know how people obtain titles today. So the value there for the casual fan, for the network, for the promoter, it's for a world title. It sounds great, but the bottom line is titles are not that hard to come by anymore. I mean, for me, I'll never win a world title, but the truth of the matter is there's a lot of title holders. Last time I counted, what do we have? 73 world title holders. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
When we used to have 8, there used to be 8, and now there's 73. People walking around claiming they're a title holder, a world title holder, no doubt. And years ago, there used to be 8 at the most. So I think that puts it in perspective. But hey, Sal, I am going to miss doing the show tomorrow, but it is what it is, and we will be back on Monday. So I want to tell everybody this: enjoy the fight if you get it this weekend. If you do not like the fight, and you think it's ludicrous that it's even a pay-per-view, the thing you got to do is not buy the fight. The only way boxing is going to change, and what I mean by change is at least give us the best possible fights on pay-per-view, is if you don't buy them. If you continue to buy them, you're going to continue to get the shitty fights. It's that simple. It's called, basically, you're in charge. You don't like the fight, don't buy it. Send a message to the powers that be that you're not going to shell out hard-earned money for a fight that's not pay-per-view worthy. That's all you can do. If you buy the fight and then we're all bitching and moaning about it come Monday, it's our own fault for buying the fight. So keep that in the back of your mind. And I will leave you with this. Make sure you tune in Monday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.